Hello, so we are doing 1.4 today, rewriting equations and formulas. This is a very important lesson because the skills you will learn in this lesson are things you will use for the rest of the book. You will also use these in science, you will use these in high school math, so if this lesson does not make sense, please rewatch the video, take really good notes, and you can come in and ask for help. So here's the basic idea of this lesson. The idea of this lesson is that if I were to give you an equation for something, like for example, if I said, here's a triangle, right? And I said I wanted you to find the area of this triangle. The formula for area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 times the base times the height, okay? Now, let's say I gave you the area, and let's say I gave you the height, but you needed to find the base. The point of this lesson is to show you that you can solve just for one variable even if you don't have numbers in there. How would I do that? Well, it's very similar to if I did have numbers in there, right? Let's do something a little more simple to begin with. How about the formula to find the circumference of a circle? The circumference is the distance around a circle. So the formula is circumference equals pi times diameter. Remember, the diameter is the distance across a circle. So let's say if that was like a 7 or something, you would take pi times 7, and that would get you your circumference, okay? But I don't know the diameter, okay? I just want you to come up with a formula to get diameter by itself. So if the direction said solve for D, what that actually means is get D all by itself. Okay, that's my job. Get D by itself. What's happening to D? It's being multiplied by pi. What's the opposite of being multiplied by pi? Being divided by pi. But if I do it to one side, I've got to do it to the other. Now, pi over pi, that's like saying 3 over 3, right? That's just one whole. But, pi is just a number, so pi over pi is one whole, so it's gone. That leaves me with c over pi equals d. Did I get d all by itself? Yes, I did. Did I solve for d? Yes, I did. d equals c over pi. That's literally what we're doing in this chapter. We're just getting variables by themselves. Let's go back to the example I was trying to do up here with the triangle. If I said solve for B, that means get B all by itself, okay? What's happening to B? B is being multiplied by 1/2 and by h. So I can get rid of 1/2 and h at the exact same time. What's the opposite of being multiplied by 1/2 h? Being divided by 1/2 h. But if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. Those would cancel out and make a 1. So all I have is area over 1/2 h equals b. B is now by itself. I solved for b. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and solve some more equations. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do the simple interest equation. Interest equals P times R times T. If you look right here, they didn't put the dots in between. Instead, they just put the letters all together. Remember, when things are all huddled up next to each other like that, it means multiply. Now, I want to get P all by itself. What is happening to P? P is being multiplied by R and T, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by R and T. But if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. R over R equals 1, so those cancel out. T over T equals 1, so those cancel out. All I'm left with is my P, that's what I wanted. And my new equation is I over RT equals P. Okay? Now, those are great for when we're just solving for formulas, right? But now what if we put real numbers in there? Let me find a good example. Let's do number 1 right here. Here's how this is different than what we've been doing. What we've been doing only has one variable. Now there might be multiple terms with that one variable, but this one's got two variables. We're so used to things being like this, 5x minus x equals 10, right? But I've got a y and an x. Those are not like terms, okay? 5y is a term, negative x is a term, and then 10 is a term. Those are not like terms. I can't do anything with those. So here's how we solve for this. First, you have to read the directions because you'll never know who you're solving for if you're not, reading the directions. It says solve the equation for y. And remember, if it says solve the equation for y, that's actually saying get y by itself. Okay? Let's get y by itself. Now, if this was like a 2 or something, you'd have no problem getting y by itself. First, you would add 2, right? Those would cancel out. Then you'd have 5y equals 12. Then you would divide by 5, and then, you'd get some terrible number, but y equals whatever that equals, right? You have no problem getting y by itself. Don't get confused just because there's an x there and not an actual number. I've got to get this canceled out and moved to the other side. So how do I do that if it was a number? If this was a 2, you would say, do the opposite of what it is. It's a negative 2, so you would add 2. Do the same thing, even though it's an x. It is an x, it's a negative x, so do the opposite, which is to add x. Do it to both sides. These two would cancel out, which is great, that's what we want, which leaves me with 5y. But now look right here. 10 plus x. Those are not like terms. So I can't say that is 10x. That would be silly. That's multiplication. This is addition, right? Don't worry about it. Just rewrite it how it is. It says 10 plus x. Just write 10 plus x. Okay? All right. Now here's a very important thing right here. Ready? Got to get y by itself. What's happening to y? It's being multiplied by 5. So the opposite of that is to divide by 5. Ready? Here we go. This is the important step right here. You can't just divide one thing by 5. You have to divide every term by 5. Okay? Now 5 over 5, that's 1, so it's gone, which is what we wanted. We want just the y by itself. Now just focus on each of these problems. This is 10 divided by 5, which is 2. This is x divided by 5. Now, what's actually in front of that x? A 1. Just leave this as 1/5 x. That's it. You are done. That's your answer. Y is by itself, and that's all we wanted. We wanted y by itself. Okay? Y equals 2 plus 1/2 x. Let's do another one. My job is to get y by itself. Now, if this was just a 4, not a 4x, you would have no problem telling me that we got to subtract 4 to both sides to get that to go away. Then I would divide by -4, right? Okay, well, just because there's an x there, it doesn't change anything. You're still going to subtract the 4. It's just there's going to be a little buddy next to him, 4x, okay? Because we want the whole term to go away. But if I do it to one side, I've got to do it to the other. These two would cancel out completely, which is what we wanted. We're left with -4y equals, remember, these are not like terms. It's just going to be 1 minus 4x. Okay, now what's happening to y? I got to get it alone. It's being multiplied by -4, so I need to divide by -4. But remember, here's the most important thing. You have to do it to every term on the other side. These two would cancel out, which leaves me with y equals, now don't be afraid, these are just fractions. 1 over -4, that's just -1/4. -4 over -4, that's 1 whole. That's your answer. Y equals -1/4 plus x. Let's do number 3. Remember, we're trying to get y all by itself. What's happening to my y? y is being multiplied by 3. It's also being added by this extra stuff, right? My job is to get rid of that extra stuff first. This is positive 6x, so do the opposite of it. Subtract the 6x to both sides. 6x take away 6x is nothing. 12 minus 6x, those are not like terms, so I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to rewrite it as 12 minus 6x. All right, what's happening to my y? It's being multiplied by 3. So to get that 3 to go away, I got to divide by 3. But remember, if I do it to one thing, I have to do it to everything on the other half. 3 over 3 is 1, so it's gone, which is perfect. That's what I want my y by itself. Let's start at the very beginning. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Don't forget to bring down your buddy. That's your answer. 4 minus 2x equals y. That's basically what this entire chapter is, okay? It's just solving for a variable, okay? You're just getting a variable by itself. Now the homework, I wanted them to do 5 through 10. All you're doing is getting y by itself, the same thing that we were doing, okay? And then I wanted them to look at number 12. Number 12 says the formula for Kelvin to Celsius is this. Could you solve for C, Celsius? Which means just get C by itself. What's happening to C? It's being added by 273.15. So subtract 273.15. But if you're going to do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. That would cancel it out, which means what I was left with is K minus 273.15 equals Celsius. That's your answer for A. Celsius is by itself. Now B says, if I knew that I had 300 Kelvin, what would that be in Celsius? All you have to do is plug in 300 for Kelvin and subtract 273.15, and that's what would get you your Celsius. This is a very, very, very important section, so if this did not make sense, please rewatch it. Please take really good notes, and always ask questions when you come back to school. All right, bye.